Hey guys, you got David Abrams here, one of the co-founders of Demio, along with Andrew Fox, also one of the co-founders of Zapable. Andrew, I'm super proud to have you on here, man. I've actually been a big follower of yours for many years. In my intro into the internet marketing world, I've learned about you and a lot of the programs you've put out in the past. I know your information marketing background, and I watched your launch unfold over the past I guess, year and a half now since Zapable launched, maybe 2 years?
Yeah, just over 2 years, David.
Congratulations. But yeah, so just over 2 years, I've seen you guys grow. I've seen the momentum. And I'm really excited to have you on here today, knowing, your journey, your seven-figure SaaS journey here. I would love to find out more about, the steps that you took, what you learned along the way. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll just jump right in. Hey, everybody, by the way, if you have questions, pop them in chat, and we'll let Andrew kind of jump right in and tell us about it. So I guess first and foremost, how'd you even get started online? I mean, I know you've been in internet marketing and information marketing for so long. What got you going? How'd you get started?
Well, I suppose originally it was about 15 years ago, probably around the year 2001. And we really just started, looking at I originally taught myself web design. I was a car washer for $5 an hour, which was pretty good. And I sort of seen this big crazy thing called the interweb starting to appear. This is, back in the days where there was the telephone line and, it was like dial up and, you had to borrow your parents' sort of internet and stuff. And they're like, what are you doing on this internet thing? And stop blocking the phone line. It costs money and all this sort of stuff. But I sort of knew, David, I was like, if you can reach the whole world from your bedroom, that's vast potential. So I suppose I was always slightly visionary, and then, I could always imagine where things were going. I never, I suppose, listened to the mainstream. And the funny thing was, when I was in school and, growing up, people called me insane because I had all these wacky ideas. And I said, I'm going to own a Ferrari. I'm going to have a house, by the beachfront. If you can sort of see now, this is my office, living right on the ocean. I've had multiple Ferraris and all that since then, so it all comes true. But the funny thing was that people called me the crazy one. They said, "You're the crazy bastard," and I said, "Excuse the language," but I said, "Well, you're basically going to go into a job that you don't really like. You're going to get up around 7. You're going to drive in traffic. You're going to go and work for someone, and you're going to do something that." 7 or 8 out of 10 people don't really like what they do, David. And I'm the insane one. So it seemed quite logical to me that I was actually quite rational in my thinking.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's crazy that people allow themselves to be unhappy, and then they let their lives they go down this journey of being unhappy, and they just figure it's the norm, and people accept the norm as face value. That's what it's supposed to be. That's what life's about. And I think that's the crazy thing. Someone like you saying and kind of having the vision of your life, you're washing cars, and the way you probably looked at it, you were probably washing nice cars, and you're probably like, man, one day I would love to own a car like this or something like that. I remember I served tables when I was 19 or 20, and I always used to think, I can't wait to be the guy that's eating dinner and buying a bottle of wine and having a good dinner on a Saturday night instead of working it and serving them. I wanted to be the one getting served. And I just know you kind of have that change of vision and mission there sometimes.
Yeah, it's sort of built in mindset. And if you don't have it up here, it's never going to manifest out there. Now, as Jim Carrey, I just seen this interview with Jim Carrey there, and yeah, he said, he wrote a check for $10 million, and it literally took him to year 10 to get that check. And I think it was for Dumb and Dumber. But he sort of made a joke after. He goes, I guess, well, I made the 10 million, but you can't just kind of go and order a sandwich. You're going to have to go and work for it. So, right. Yeah, it's you certainly do have to be very careful about what you think, because what you think, what you wish for, it's quite scary, because if you do start thinking of sort of negative things or worry, generally that worry will kind of rebound into your life. I've seen it happen to many people or many friends, and even myself. If I catch myself in any sort of negative thought pattern, then it just resonates to the world. But if you're kind of happy and abundant, then everything changes and your outlook changes around you. One of my, I just decided that I was 26 years old and I wanted to buy this property. It's actually the property I'm in now, and it was around about $1 million. Well, when the exchange rate was back then to pounds, and I needed a few $100,000, and I had to raise 200 grand in about, I think it was around 17, 18 weeks. And I signed the contract, so kind of spoke to the builder and said, if I don't have all the deposit, are you going to sue me? And he goes, I don't know. So I just I worked like hell, and we were doing product launches back then, and I was always quite prolific at them, and we just worked like absolute crazy. And I'm not joking. We did a product called the Guru Slayer, which was an information kind of training guide, information business affiliate marketing, and literally we completed on the property on the 20th of April, and the bank wire came in from ClickBank around on the 20th of April. So I'd written a check for the deposit, and that last bit of money covered the deposit. And I was like, I don't care if I can't afford any furniture, if I can do anything. And then, my parents were even worried, oh, but you might have a mortgage and stuff. And I was like, Mom, Dad, if I can save up 200 grand in 16 weeks, I can fucking handle a mortgage. Again, excuse my language, but I speak from the heart, man. So that was my mindset. You see, if I could achieve that, I could do anything. So that was a good goal for me, because it kind of showed that if you put your mind in, you can do it.
Do you think kind of you really put your money on the line there by writing kind of the contract and really getting ready before you even did the plan to get there? Do you think that was kind of the killer thing? Do you still do that, where you kind of put the goal in place, the plan in place before you even start on the mission? Is that one of your kind of strategies internally?
Yeah, I mean, well, they're generally quite bold, outrageous goals, and that's something that, especially as you're growing a tech company, you need to understand is that if you don't get yourself organized and sort of more structured, you can certainly make these big goals. And this is the thing, David. There's like I could ask you a Demio now, if you have thousands of users at the minute, but if I just said, okay, I'm going to send you 10,000 users tomorrow, everything would probably compute. People wouldn't get serviced right. The software may not hold up. Everything has to scale kind of reasonably proportionally. And this is quite a discussion I've had with many people. You can self-destruct. So sometimes growing not at this rapid rate, because if you grow too fast, you're going to get annoyed customers. You can't keep up with support. The technology doesn't work. You need to bring in trained staff, and you're going to get refund rates. You could get your merchant account closed down. There's a lot of potential negatives. So that's why it's good to sometimes bring in a batch of customers, bring them in bit by bit, and sort of analyze what they're doing. Analyze the user adoption. What are they doing? What features are they using? How's the site running? Listen to your customers, because I speak to my support staff every day, and I say, what's going on today? And they say, oh, well, we've got this. Is there any recurring issues? Is there something we can simplify? Make a video or a training. And then I'll say to that support member, well, could you go cut a video for that and then upload to our academy? So that's listening to your customers and analyzing is one of the biggest things. So that's actually what we did with Zapable. Was our plan, David, was always initially, and basically that we were going to launch it. And obviously Zapable, it's a mobile app builder, so and we're kind of going beyond that. It's about how to mobilize your business. So if you have any business, basically any business at all, offline, online, you need to have an app for it. It's like the year 2000, where you needed to have a website. Well, now you need to have an app. So even like you guys, Demio, you're going to get an app. I'm going to get you an app. So awesome. If that was sort of our mindset behind it. And sorry, what was that? I lost chain of thought there.
No, it's perfect. It was about goal setting. It was about what.
So I think regarding goals, we will look at certain things. Like for this exact moment in time, we've been analyzing our partner promotions, which have been going fantastically, and paid traffic, customer acquisition. But we sort of know at the minute to make everything sort of streamlined. Like I said, we could just go and start acquiring customers like crazy, but we just want to tighten up every process. And this is from the customer purchasing to the thank you page, to the thank you email, to the follow-up post-education, because obviously user adoption, which is ultimately going to be, your customer will stay with you for a long time, and they'll become your evangelist, and they'll spread the word about you, and they'll also spread the word about you negatively if you don't look after them or your software isn't up to scratch. And that's one of the challenges I think within tech is that companies like even let's say in the app world, if you build an app and everyone's used to using Facebook and Instagram, and your app isn't as fluid or as fast as Facebook and Instagram, they go, well, it's not as quick. And you're like, oh, but we're not really Facebook or Instagram. That doesn't matter to the user. The precedent has been set by these Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, these regular apps. If your app isn't super quick and speedy, then you're not going to get there. You'll ultimately fail. So mainstream tech, it's the pros about it, David, are that it raises the bar, so it makes it harder for people to come in. It's like again, Demio, you guys, someone can't just come in and go, I'm going to make a webinar software. It doesn't work like that. It takes time, and as you say, with live streaming, it takes a while to master, and there's a million challenges along the way. And trust me, in the app building world, there is an immense amount of challenges. But
Can't imagine.
We've it's and iOS release updates all the time and stuff, but that's part of the growth. But when you believe in something, when you believe in it so much that that our vision is basically to become the Cristiano Ronaldo of app builders. I know it's like people say like, oh, it's about getting a certain percentage of market share and all this. Screw that. We want to be the best. We want to be brilliant, and that's it's myself and Chris. Obviously, to give you an idea, I'm the kind of sales, marketing sort of strategist. Chris sort of does technology, has a look at the marketplace, and we both complement each other. And we've just brought on a new CTO there as well, who's a fantastic, brilliant developer. So basically, I always say to Chris, I said, look. He says, well, this is the way the apps, I want them to look, I want them to function. I agree, and I just say, okay, what do we need to get there? And that doesn't just mean money or resources. What do you need? Mm-hmm. Do you need a UX? Do you need a UI? Do we need more support? Like I don't see any limits at all. It's just like whatever it takes, we'll get it done. And it's always that mindset that I have, and it's always striving to be the best. Like I don't think there's really room for excuses, to be honest. I think it's just you just have to believe in your product and service so much where we want to basically be the Wix of app building. So you can have an app, for example, let me show a massive market that we're actually about to disrupt quite majorly. I'm really excited about this. Is there's such a big market for like local businesses where you've heard of Just Eat, Grubhub and stuff.
Well, no, I haven't.
Oh yeah. Well, oh sorry. Well, you probably heard. Have you heard of Grubhub before?
Yep.
Yeah. So Just Eat's the same. It's in the UK, and they're a huge company. I think their valuation's around $3 billion or so. What they do is people go online to look. They search for like pizza in New York or whatever, their local area, and restaurants come up, and then they can order the food online, and basically Just Eat take a percentage, but they take 15%, and to a lot of like local businesses, 15% of your net profit is huge. And some companies like Deliveroo, there's other ones in London, they can take up to 30%, which is insane because that's a lot of margin. So I basically spoke to a few like local businesses, like coffee shops, pizza shops, Indians, whatever. And I said, why are you not on a Just Eat? And they go, because money's too hard earned to give away 10 or 15%. And I said, well, why don't you get your own app? And they go, I wouldn't have a clue. Like I don't know. I wouldn't know where to start. I couldn't afford it. So the mindset is they can't afford it. So I said, well, I'll tell you what, if you could have an app for your own business, you can send out your own push notifications. You can control, you control your user base. You can take orders, and instead of paying 15% and you can't engage with your customers, you're going to pay us 4%, and we'll and you can do all this. And they're like, all right, well, how do I get started? So there's massive disruption to be had here. And again, instead of like charging people, tens of thousands of dollars an app could potentially cost, they'll be able to get started with us for anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. Now, circling back to how we sort of initially grew Zapable was, we knew, David, when we launched, if we were going to go door to door, where we were going to take our app building service and sell directly to individual businesses, that's going to take a lot of time. That's going to, we didn't have the resources and the staff to, grow the technology, get the customers, look after them and stuff. It was too hard. So there had to be a better way in. And that's where we leveraged the reseller model. So we basically said, okay, instead of having, 1,000 customers, why don't we have 1,000 resellers? Because when resellers basically come in and start selling apps, what does that do for us, David?
I mean, nothing. I mean, well, resellers coming in, it does a lot. Actually, it gives you all new distribution sources. Like every single one is a new distribution source.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like 1,000 people selling, and say they're building apps. we just wanted them to build apps because we can just kind of look at the bird's eye view, and now we can log in. We can see like what apps are being built, what country they're being built in. Is it a hair salon? Is it a pizza shop? Is it a coffee shop?
Hmm.
We've got like local swim teams. Like I mean, if I hold up my phone here,
Yeah,
uh,
and let me ask, while you're going through this, while you add on to the story, how did you find those resellers? Like those are specific niches you're talking about. How did you guys go out and find them? You can add that to the story if you'd like.
well, again, this was a bit of leverage, and I'll take your crowd through. This is like some of the Zap apps. I have them on my phone here, being made by
Nice.
our brilliant resellers. Yeah, so basically, we knew that the the app reseller market would be huge, and the good thing about it was if someone became a reseller selling apps and they actually sold apps successfully, certain features in the apps won't work unless they renew their subscription. So we knew like if we can get our resellers selling apps and successfully doing it, they're never going to leave because
Hmm.
the pain of leaving is too much. Because we have many resellers that are selling apps for $2,000 to $3,000 each. We didn't mind that at all, David. Like we had abundance mindset. We have some resellers that I think they don't give us their exact figures, but they're doing like over $100,000 months,
Wow.
and they pay like
Wow.
$300 a year for a membership. But again, we don't care because they get to exploit. They're like our almost like they're like exploring Zapable with us. It's like part of the journey with us. So we're
Right.
empowering our resellers. So Chris and I spotted opportunity where we could sell this as like a business opportunity. Hey, do you want to have your own app business? Well, here's a reseller account and here's what you can do. So
Hmm.
we kind of presented it as a business opportunity. We got the resellers in. They started building all these apps within Zapable. We encouraged user adoption, brought out more features, did training. And again, we were growing so fast, we took on a lot of customers. So, we've just been adding to the staff, piece by piece, and we've got a great team. And even at the moment, we probably have a team of around, I suppose, 10 people at the moment, but we're just growing
Hmm.
really, really nicely, adding new people all the time.
Well, let me ask you this, and I know this. I know this pain because we're a bootstrap company too. But obviously, with the growth that you guys are facing, with the reseller model, which actually probably provides a lot of new customers coming in, but you're also getting a lot of usage on your scale and stuff like that. What do you guys and how have you guys balanced being a bootstrap company and the hires that you need to make in a very competitive and hard tech versus like going the raising the funding route? How come you guys haven't looked at raising funding? How come what kind of mindset do you have there?
Well, here's the thing, okay? Again, totally believe in abundance mindset. There's no shortage of money in the world. There's hundreds of millions of funding. Whenever you want it, you can always get money. However, the more credibility you have and the more history, the more leverage you have. If you come to Mr. VC or whoever funder and say, "Hey, I got this idea to build an app building company," and you show them the plan, and they're like, "Okay, cool," and they say, "Well, how much? Well, how much do you want?" And it's like, "Well, we'll want $500,000 or 200,000, 500, whatever for a seed round," and I say, "Okay, well, we're going to take 30, 40% of your company because we're taking on all the risk, and it's just an idea."
Mhm. It
And
is.
a lot of investors, yeah, some of them do take the risk, but a lot of them that will invest at those levels, uh, they're only going to give you the money if they take a huge percentage of your company, and
Right.
it just
Early
didn't
stage, high
for me.
risk angels.
Yes, absolutely. And to be honest, it's not saying we didn't need the money per se, but I believed in our own ability. I believed in the ability of Chris to manage a development team, and I believed in my kind of marketing skills. And we had a bit of leverage in the marketplace, and obviously I've been doing marketing, and I believe in the product so much. And let me tell you, David, I'll be honest with you. When we released Zapable 2 years ago, and we had obviously our referral partners launching, do you know how hard it is to convince a referral partner that he can sell a recurring subscription product? I
Yeah,
mean,
that was before really a lot of people started doing recurring too. You guys were one of the first in there to do even a high price recurring
the
too.
first kind of launch, and
Yeah.
everyone was like, "I don't know if my list," and I was like, "It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
You had to
I've
change
never done
mindsets.
that in my life." Yeah, it's your mindset. So, we just launched, and will recurring if you're doing like a launch style environment and you're doing recurring billing, will that work? Yes, it did work, but it took. I mean, it took share. It was just willpower.
Hmm.
The sales letter had to be good, and I'll tell you another challenge was you know, you see with Demio, for example, you're a webinar platform, so you kind of know what you're focused on. Well, we're an app building platform, but there's many subcategories within Zapable. So you can build local business apps, you can build e-commerce apps, you can build appointment booking service apps. You can put in YouTube videos, you can put in Facebook, social media. There's all these different sort of features. So having to cram this into like a sales video and sort of educate people on all the features, all 30 features, and also how easy it was, where it was point and click simple, which it is a very easy, it is a super user friendly interface. But see, trying to get that into a 15-minute sales video, it's tough. And then you've got to make it convert, because if it's not converting or selling well, your referral partners will stop pushing. So it was a massive challenge, but we took it, and I kind of like literally I was flying around, I was going around San Francisco, and we are going around these tech incubators and stuff. I was telling everyone about Zapable. I was telling people like on planes, hey, do you want to hear about Zapable? I was like going down to these like local things, just zapping people, zap them to hell. Had like Don Wilson, Con Mirza, Alex Becker, zap, 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 hashtag zapping around everywhere. And it's just sheer belief and insane execution that got us started. So we just bootstrapped, and I can tell you now that obviously I've got a lot of good relationships with different types of investors, and they do really appreciate they say it's a lot easier to do a project on not on your own dime, on like handout money. And yeah, I'm not criticizing it. If you haven't had any money and you've got funding, good for you, no problem. But if you've proven that you can do something that you've acquired, because there's many seeds of building a tech company. You have the seed round, which is just build the technology and just show it works. Like build a proof of concept. The next stage is obviously you've got to take it to market. Does the market want it? Is it like responsive? Is it competitive? And then once it's in there, it's sort of moving on to Series A. Can you scale? How many countries can it go to? What's the range? What kind of price? And it just scales like that. So there's all those different stages, and we were initially willing to kind of do that ourselves, and we haven't regretted it. And also, when you bootstrap, David, let me turn this around on you. How many lessons do you learn from bootstrapping? Because you've got to manage, developers, customer support staff. God forbid, you might even want to take some salary out yourself to pay your food bill. So you've got to learn to balance money. So yeah, there's a lot of challenges with it, but great education comes with that.
No, I definitely agree with you. I think bootstrapping, especially a tech company, is probably one of the most educational things that you can do. I mean, you definitely learn frugality. You learn how to manage a budget, like you said. Instead of hiring in bulk, you hire when you need to, or when the pain is great enough that you have to. And you constantly have to be looking at things like churn and market fit and talking to customers consistently, because taking time to build a feature that maybe not the right fit for your customers at that point could be a loss of a huge amount of investment and time in one direction. You have to be strategic in your thoughts. I mean, it really does. It adds a lot of pressure. Obviously, it adds a lot of pressure and a lot of stress to your life, because you are bootstrapped. There is what's called a ZCD, a zero cash state, but you are bootstrapped, so it's a good thing. But I definitely agree with you. I just like to ask that question because you obviously have already built up and you already have some market fit. You've proven the concept. I think that funding is good at some levels too, also to further growth faster. So I just like to ask that question and see how you're going. And I'm just going to stop there for a second on that question and move on to you talked about your launch, and I watched your launch happen, which was great. And you used the affiliate partners and the referral partners in that area. Now, you said you had this very wide-reaching application. How did you narrow it down? You said you had to put into this 15-minute video. How did you figure that out? Were you just trying to target the avatar of your referral partners, knowing that you had to go into more of like a building apps for other people, local marketer / money-making opportunity section? Like, how come you angled it that way when you could have angled it another way? Like, what was your mindset in that area?
Dude, I'm a machine. Yeah, that has been one of my skills where, I'll give you another example, just going off topic. Easy Sketch Pro. This was a product that basically a guy, Paul Lynch, came to me. I've known Paul for a long time, and we promoted this as an affiliate originally. And let's say if we did it as an affiliate and we maybe made, I don't know, maybe say at the time $2,000 commissions in a 24-hour period, that would be good. That would be a good product. And this one ended up doing like $9,000 commissions in 24 hours. And I was like, holy crap. And Paul was like, oh my God, like that's amazing. And he goes, look, can you get can you get referral partners? Can you do this? Can you? I'll give you a cut. I'll give you a 2 tier. I'll give you this. And I was like, well, to be honest, I'm always about building the intellectual property of stuff I own. Like, no hard feelings. I love helping people and stuff, but I've got to, I've still got to build our own thing. And my heart's always really been with Zapable as well. So I think Easy Sketch Pro was just before Zapable had actually first launched, but we were building Zapable in the background. So Paul basically came back to me and I said, look, you need to do a launch, you need to do this, and he knew the only he knew the only thing that was going to get me on board was, he says, do you want to come board as a equal partner? And I said, well, and I got offered multiple, come on board as a partner, Andrew, whatever. And I just went, you know what? I think I can do this. And I strategized everything. I said, right, we've just got to get it lined up. And this will circle back to Zapable as well, because there's a certain method of attracting affiliates and kind of like the sphere of influence and how it sort of trickles down. So I'll use Easy Sketch Pro as an example. And then the knowledge that I learned of Easy Sketch Pro, I was able to funnel that into Zapable as well. Mm-hmm. So basically, with Easy Sketch Pro, the best thing you can do is, it's a video-based product. Who's the biggest video person in our industry? And at the time, it was Todd Gross. Todd was, the kind of biggest video authority. And I said, look, Todd, we've done a good promotion here. The tests are looking really good, and I think it could do really, really well. And he looked at it, and I started working with about 5 of the top kind of video influencers within the niche. David, this is what you need to do when you do a launch. You don't focus on getting like 50 affiliates. You focus on maybe getting 5 to 10 good affiliates, because once they kind of kickstart your launch, hardest part of doing a product launch is kickstarting the momentum. But if it's converting and it's doing well, everything will follow suit. And if it's not converting and do it well, the momentum sort of stops. And that's where I'm just good at finding out how to position those sales videos and sales letters. And it's just, that's sort of been my skill. Not everything's a home run. It really isn't. That's why people say, oh, you make it look easy. Trust me, it's not easy. And sometimes it doesn't always go to plan. But the way I say it is, life is kind of like this, up and down, up and down. You're living. That's living, man. But you just got to keep going. You never, ever accept anything as a failure. You just keep going. So when Todd did that launch, I think it did it was crazy. I think we did about $100,000 inside the opening, maybe 45 minutes. And Todd Gross had made like 60 grand sales or something, 60% of that. And that product, long story short, that was about 3 years ago. But that product's now went on to do $3 million. It still sells every day.
Wow.
It still sells thousands and thousands of dollars. And it was just learning to kickstart that as momentum. And obviously, if I've had good affiliates and I've got a good reputation now, that the products that, if I'm involved in doing the sales copy and work, I could then transfer that over to Zapable. So again, with the sheer hustle, but then with Zapable, I had this, it was a new product. It was app building. Me and my brother believed in it totally, but you have to convince the world and the affiliates that this is coming. And also with app building back then, you didn't really know exactly if apps were going to take over. We firmly believed that. But you couldn't go now and say, I'm going to start building an app builder now. You had to get in there earlier and kind of get your sort of foot in the ground, because then you get all the data, you can understand what's going on. So we had to basically get in there a lot earlier. But with Zapable, as I explained, we then had this, as circling back to your question, how do we fit in that angle of attack? We have 15 minutes to get the sales video, and we've got these referral partners. Some are video based, some are Amazon based, some are this. And we just had to work with them and show them the different features. And the word affiliate means promote and make money. Just remember that, okay? Yeah, people are nice. They smile at you and do all this, okay? But let's not kind of beat around the bush. Affiliates are there to make money. There's no shame in that, okay? They want to make money, and money's one of the hot buttons. So you have to do whatever it takes. And like I said, with the recurring billing, that was a massive, hard thing to do. We could have easily sold Zapable at a 2 or 3 time higher price as a one-off fee. We would have made a lot of money. But for the long-term growth of the company, it would have been destructive. Because imagine you do go to exit, or you go to sell a company to an investor, and they say, okay, so you've got 1,000 customers on here that you've got to service, support, look after. But But what do they pay? Oh, they paid a one-off fee.
Zero revenue. Yeah.
Yeah. So we knew that it was paramount to our model that we had to do, and we've never sold Zapable as a one-off fee ever. It's a recurring. if you have that subscription model, then it does provide a certain amount of stability, obviously, because then you have like cash flow. You can obviously, assign between marketing, development, education, R&D, whatever. So there's a lot of stuff.
That's such a critical point. And I got some echo from your speakers.
Oh, sorry.
No, I remember I was talking to an advisor before we did our launch. I'm still gonna go there. Speakers.
All right. Okay.
Okay, just turn off the mic and then turn it back.
Yeah.
So what I was saying was we talked to our advisor right before we launched, and we were looking at maybe doing, like, I'd seen a lot of products come out. This is probably 2 years after your launch, or maybe a year and a half after your launch. So a lot of people like struggle with recurring. So we're like, maybe we do a one-off launch, or we do a lifetime. But really what we found out, what you just said so perfectly, is that, on the books, there's no upcoming revenue. And to anyone for a multiple, as far as an investor multiple or a selling multiple on exit, there is absolutely zero upcoming revenue. So you have expenditures of cost, of support, of new development, everything like you said, and there's no future revenue. So you could burn that cost and be bankrupt within 12 months, and you've basically just killed your future of your company if you're not building into recurring revenue and the actual business model that makes sense. So, I'm proud of you for like pioneering that area of the affiliate area. And it definitely sounds like it was just pure hustle to get people organized. And it just sounds like your mind is very strategic. Like you look for the angles on an individual basis and also for the marketplace itself. You try to find the angles that work. And, I just want to take a step back. Like what can people do that are listening, or what do you think? Like, obviously, I think that's probably one of your key skill sets, and probably one of the reasons why Zapable is doing so well right now is because of the key strategic engineering that you kind of come up with. What have you done in your life to figure that out, to find out how to do that? I mean, obviously, you weren't born with something like that. You kind of created it over time. You learned how to look for those angles. What do you think people can do to also be strategic and get into that strategic growth model?
Well, that's what I always teach people, and I'll touch on a few things here. It's like, if you want to have a party, or you want to get people to come to your bar, okay, you don't advertise and doing all this. All you do is like get all the girls to go to the bar, because all the guys will follow the girls. So go get the hot girls, and all the guys will follow. There's the thing. So if someone was a bar and say, well, Andrew, how do I get people to my club? I go, that's how you do it. Mm-hmm. So that's like an example there, but it's just being strategic and thinking about the influencers in your marketplace, because if they see like oh that guy's promoting, well, that must be good. It's like somebody is nobody until they become somebody. Mm-hmm. And then when they do, everyone wants to hang about with them and they want to be the man, and they it's that. So it's having that circle of influence, and you just have to either, as I said, hustle your way in. You've got to do something different. You've always just got to, I suppose, David, like think outside the box, because I knew that with Zapable this could be done. And like I said, so many people said, oh, Easy Sketch Pro, it did like 3 million. Zapable, it's done millions. Everything you do is do millions. We did DNA with Peter Parks, it did millions. But again, it's always, there's a bit of strategic thinking behind it. And with recurring billing and stuff, you need to. I wrote an article recently. It was I posted it actually in ClickFunnels. It went crazy. It got like 60, 70 likes within like a day or so, and I got so much great feedback off it. And I said, if you're selling an app to someone, you have to, like, here's the thing. If you're selling an app, a business owner, you might show them the app and you might go, okay, well, let me just sort of build this up. So I could say, okay, here's one of our apps here. This is Las Faidas. It's Newport in California. So anybody in California who listens to this, go here and download their app and tell them Fox is actually. But they could see this and they could say, okay, well, yeah, it looks nice, it's cool and stuff. But ultimately, they don't really care that much how it looks or feels. Okay, it's not that it's irrelevant, but what they want to do, David, is what they care about is they want to get more customers. They want to get more repeat customers. They want to get more sales. They want to get more leads. It's what it does for them. Okay, so if you can show them things that can promote repeat engagement, for example, we have like coupons here, and they have all these, buy one get one free, 25% off. This is crazy. we can see these coupons being used 3 or 4 times a day.
Nice.
Now, if I was going to break this down per numbers, here's an example. So let's say the average meal, we'll just call it $20. And let's say they're getting, I can see because there's 3 coupons being redeemed per day. So let's say they're getting 3 orders per day times $20. Well, that's $60 a day. $60 a day is $1,800 a month. Over a year, that's about 21 grand. Now, if I was going into another restaurant to try and sell them an app, and I basically showed them a case study, and I said, look, would an extra 21,000 help your, Mexican sort of feta business? Mm-hmm. You're damn right, it's going to help them. So if you show them, well, this is how you do it, this is how you set it up, and then you show them some other features like, we've got loyalty cards as well, just do that, and then when they click a button, the staff would just enter the code there, and it kind of digitally stamps it. So what I'm saying is here, you have to solve a problem and solve pain. Like I said, it doesn't. They might see an app and they just go, "Oh, it looks nice and it looks cool." But if you're not addressing, it's even I spoke to my dad and I said, "Hey, Dad, do you want an app?" And he goes, "Oh, right, well, yeah, I think so, yeah." Mm-hmm. "Dad, do you want more customers? Do you want more sales? Do you want more people ringing the phone?" He's like, "Yeah." So you have to learn to bridge the way. So your software, well, in Zapable's case, it has to find a way to bridge that to the consumer. It's there to make their life easier. Again, say you're a personal trainer. I know that personal trainers, for example, they spend a lot of time taking on clients, and they're texting them at night. Hey, your schedule's at 11. Yeah, see you tomorrow. And they're going home. They want to chill out and relax, but there's spending their time. They're probably going to the bathroom, sitting in the toilet, and they're texting all their clients, and I've got to do that, I've got to do this, and they're so busy. So if you said, well, if you had an appointment booking service where your clients could book online and they can reserve online, you just get a text saying, "Oh, Janine wants to book an appointment tomorrow at 10," and all you do is log on, hit one button. When you hit that button and approve, it sends her a message. Hey there, Brian has approved your PT session. See you tomorrow. And then it's reserved, and you just look at your calendar. That makes your life more efficient. So again, it's selling the benefits. You have to know that and again, you say to people, here's another example. Are you scared of some of your clients leaving you and going to another PT? And they'll say, well, potentially yes. Well, if you could have your own private members area where people could log onto your app and they had this, put in a password, and they got their own diet guides and own workout videos, that would make them feel part of a community. You could say, as long as you remain a member of me, you get access to this community for free, and that's using social proof and community. So again, it's sort of strategic thinking. So it's always pointing out the benefits of your platform. I mean, this is where you see, Alex Becker's a master at this. When he's not calling people internet turds and stuff on his Instagram profile, but hey, Becker. But basically, what Alex is superbly good at is, with Market Hero, what is it? It's an email marketing platform, but he doesn't sell it as that. He says, hey, if you're doing email marketing, you're leaving money on the table. I can show you how. Here's how to 8x your business with email marketing. If you're with another provider, here's how to do this. If you're selling on Shopify, here's how to do this. He uses specific examples and then he just dials it in. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to identify the pain points and provide the solutions that your software does. You don't just say it's an email marketing service provider. That's not going to make you stand out from the competition. You got to be aggressive. It's like guerrilla marketing. You got to get in there. You've got to think. You got to hustle.
I wish. Oh man, I'm still getting from your speakers. Will you just mute the mic again one last time? It'll disconnect. Okay, perfect. So I think if everyone's watching, I really want you guys on the replay to go back and listen to it again, because I think you just gave just insane gold there as far as the examples that you went through, as far as finding the pain point that your avatar has, understanding the leverage that your benefits give you back. You give so much leverage in every single one of those examples, as far as here's the winning benefits that you're going to get. You never talk about the product. You never talk about the technical things, which I think a lot of people do. They'll be like, well, my product does X, Y, and Z. Yeah, like Market Hero. Oh, we have better email deliverability through an SMTP server, which gives you, X, Y. Doesn't talk about any of that. It talks about how tracking your numbers will make you more money, and his system can just make you more money. The benefit is making more money, getting more leads, building a faster business. Just focuses on that, but like you said, specific angles. And it sounds like you guys have definitely done that. And I just want to point out, Karen here in chat, this is really cool to see, just said, I'm a Zapable user. It's so easy and intuitive. my first mobile app, Android, took me 4 hours to create, submit, and have an active mobile app. So
Hey,
that's
Karen,
really cool to see.
yeah, that's great, Karen. Yeah, and honestly, we've got so much good stuff going, and you probably know from dealing with Dave McCall and Craig and Stuart and the whole team, like everyone, all our staff as well, and that's another point. Um, hey, Nico, how's it going? Yeah, I mean, that's another point. You know, touching on staff, we have a great staff team, and I can honestly say, hand on heart, they really believe in us. They kind of believe in the mission. Probably think I'm still crazy bastard, you know, half the time. That's cool. But yeah, I mean, you know, you have to believe it, and they really do believe in Zapable. And you know, I always say, like, what are customers doing? What are they saying? And like I said, it's just a question of improving. Like at the moment, we're just refining our processes, and then we're going to go on this like insane customer acquisition like rampage again, in a way though, where it's not just about making these stupid, you know, revenue targets just for the sake of getting revenue. You still have to balance it out. You know, bring in the education, look at the onboarding process. I said that's what we'll look at. You know, the thank you email, the thank you video. You know, how long does it take for someone to build their first app? What are the problems they're having? You know, it's getting them engaged with your platform and using it, because ultimately, if you keep a customer on for a long time, you know, it's worth a lot of money to you, and they can also become your evangelist as well.
Yeah, totally. So we're kind of running out of time here. So I want to take a step back and sit and ask this question, because you said, you know, not every time have you hit a home run, and in tech especially, you learn a lot really fast as far as what works and what doesn't work. So we've talked a lot about what has been great as far as Apple, what has helped you along the way, what has been, you know, really successful. What have been some things that have kind of been hiccups or road bumps along the way? What have you hit that was unexpected that you guys kind of had to pivot through or kind of figure out that was unexpected for you? I mean, sometimes those lessons are really helpful as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's obviously several different things. I mean, one thing I remember Chris, my brother, he's always such an innovative thinker, and he basically wanted to build this thing called the front page builder, which is a way of designing apps where, you know, where you can put like sort of banners and squares and make it all nice. Do users want this? They want the functionality, yes, but if it's not done in a way that's easy to use, it's hard. So we used to have, you know, kind of ready-made templates, and then we actually abolished those because you can make your own. But the thing is, David, most people don't have the technical know-how to really make their own. Some of the more, you know, advanced members, they were able to go in there, get designers, and say, right, here's the parameters of Zapable, and they could build some fantastic looking apps. But your average typical avatar couldn't. They want to just log in there, you know, pick a template, okay, done. Pick this, done. And that's where we sort of, you know, focused a bit of time in. And I mean, I have to say, you know, I still congratulate my bro for, you know, great innovative thinking, and I know where he's going with it. But that we sort of realized, okay, we still want to have that functionality because we know people would like it, but it has to be done in a drag and drop, easy to use environment. Like I said, everything's about ease of use, and unfortunately for us guys, Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook have pioneered user interfaces and speed. If you're not on that level, you're like, oh, it's hard to use. So, you know, that's a challenge. But hey, if you're not here for a challenge, like I even notice when I go through Demio and your interface and everything, it's really intuitive, and it shows that you've analyzed everything. Like, you know, I can see attendees, I can see the presenting, you know, you can turn your mic, your webcam off, I can see chat. It's a really nice platform actually. So I can see why a lot of people raved about it. And I think Becker, he said some good things, didn't he? And he came as part of Demio and stuff as well. So
Yeah, he's a big user of ours. Yeah, we have. I mean, we get a lot of great testimonials, and I think you know one of our major like philosophies that we have here, and I can't remember who said this. Like I think one of the Basecamp guys said this, but when you're developing a product, you got to think about what are things that users would never want less of. So for us, it was like ease of use, a great interface, that it worked every time, right? So things that are constantly up, like what would you never want less of? So for those are like kind of our core things. And I think you're right, ease of use, and it's funny sometimes as SaaS owners we want to innovate so much, but sometimes innovation also causes complexity. So there's this fine balance between simplicity, ease of use, and innovation and adding more, like trying to add more value, more features and stuff like that. And so you got to balance those two consistently through SaaS. And it's one of the hardest things you can do.
yeah, and again, that's what we get. We get like a lot of feature requests, like I'm sure you do. Hey, it'd be good if you could do this, good if you could do that. But the thing is, you don't just develop. You're probably like us. You do like a development run. You'll say, okay, in the next quarter or next 6 months, here's what we're planning to do. Because if you try to go the shotgun approach, it's just too chaotic. You've got to like look at it, and then you've got to look at your platform, what you're building on, where you're going to go with it. You're like, well, do we maybe need more customers? We have a big rebuild period coming up, and you've got to analyze all these different pieces of the puzzle. But we've done it pretty successfully to date, so we're just going to keep growing. And that's another thing, push notifications. What we're building in, Dave, is so say you're going to a local coffee shop and you get within 5 miles of the coffee shop. Well, it'll be like beacon notifications. So it's like, hey, David, we noticed you're in the area. Why not call in and get a free coffee if you call in today between 12 and 3 o'clock today? And
That's awesome.
you can also target push notifications with Radius as well now at the moment. And you can also So when we built push notifications, people said, "Oh, it would be awesome if we could build in scheduling." So scheduling was quite logical and it made sense. So we said, "Okay, let's get scheduling." So we did that. But then when there's more advanced features, then it does take a bit more time, and you've got to prioritize.
I always struggle with this because we have this huge board of like feature requests and well, first of all, I just want to say that that's innovative and that sounds awesome. I can see push notifications really, really cool as far as like local businesses. And I think you guys will be really on the forefront of innovation there. But I think it's so interesting as far as how you take those feature requests and when you're like, do you look at those feature requests and struggle to say at which time do we move them in? Like, okay, we're going to do push notifications now, but we also want to do a new notification system and we have to change some of our technology. Like, how are you guys prioritizing when you're doing a new innovation in the next 3, 6, 9 months versus when you're doing like an internal update for iOS changes and stuff like that? Like, how are you guys balancing that? Because that's a big decision.
Well, this is quite an interesting one. There's so many available technologies that you can build technology on and stuff. We are luckily at the forefront of it, and we've got a very talented team. And we're doing some stuff at the minute that's incredible. I'm not really at liberty to say any of it, but there's some really amazing things. But yeah, you do need to look at sometimes the structure and what your platform is built on. And there's so many good foundations and frameworks available to use. I mean, even like language changes from like JavaScript, PHP, and I'm not the tech guy here, but I know like anything, it's just a foundational code. It's like framework and stuff, and it does change all the time and evolve. And sometimes you have to make that decision. Is the foundation good enough for where we want to go, or do we build a bit more on it, and then do we maybe do this? So that is certainly. There is no exact answer on that, and it is, I suppose, different for each company.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Good point. All right. So to wrap up, this is a question I'd like to ask people, and obviously you've had an incredible journey through information marketing into Zapable, and obviously EasyCatch Pro and all those types of products. But if you were to take a step back like 2 years ago, what lessons would you take from Zapable right now, and would you launch it again in the same way?
Yeah, I mean, in the same way, it gave us this immediate, gave us some great cash flow, and users into the thing. So it was kind of like trial by fire. We got a lot of customers in. Support service. It was a new thing, it was innovative, but you learn from. It's like dreams aren't forged when everything's good. Dreams are forged in the fire, and you generally learn when you're thrown in the deep end. So we kind of did self-perpetuate ourselves into the deep end. What we would do there is, I suppose it's about building processes and structure. What I do obviously is, I'm sort of chief marketing officer, co-CEO with my bro. And what I sort of focus on now is I just focus on the vision of Zapable, or what I'm going to do. And we use different, management services, like, there's Trello, Basecamp, or whatever. And, we'll use certain services. We write out everything that we need to do, and then it's just about assigning people to do it, because you do need to assign staff, and you also, I think, have to put out your parameters. Like they have to know that I'm not a believer in all these. If I said for all the holidays and birthdays in the world, no one would ever get any work done. There's this, that day, there's this, and I'm like, oh, what the hell is this? you've got to focus and work on a dream. So you sort of have to input that into the staff. But
Hmm.
yeah, no, it's been great. And again, maybe that's my mindset. I just learn so much from as we go. I just it's like a bulletproof mindset. I just don't have time for, oh, we could have done this. Oh, look at that. Whatever. You learn from everything. It's don't dwell on the past. Learn from it and just go. Like everyone makes mistakes, but I just like to just put the head down, go forward, and like I said, probably start building out those systems and processes. And even if you're building a company for exit, it's the company that they're going to look at, as in the how easy is it to take over. If I was going to take out 100 people out of this company and put them into this new company, can they be replaced? Okay, yeah, they can. Go read this document. Here's how you do it, and that's what we've started. We're starting to really use like a lot of processing and stuff, because I think if you don't, you're in for a lot of heartache. So that's just the way it's got to go.
100%. I think processes and systems are so much because one, it takes so much weight off of you, especially as like a CMO or CEO. I mean, you can make strategic decisions. You can delegate by having the right processes in place. People know how to work efficiently, and I think that's kind of the key thing, right? Is efficient time in the project. But I really think my kind of key takeaway here, besides your really great marketing advice as far as leverage and focusing on benefits, is your mindset. It's just it comes through in this interview so much. You have a rock solid mindset. You believe in your vision, and you feel like you will not stop until you make it happen. And I think that's such a tremendous way to approach business. And if you don't feel that way, I mean, I don't know if you can like somehow teach people mindset, something that you have to develop over time. You can learn about it and develop it, but you have a very solid mindset on what you want to accomplish. And I've seen, obviously, you've accomplished a lot so far, and I wish you guys really good luck. Is there anything that you want to talk about as far as Zapable in the future? What you guys have coming up? Any exciting things on the roadmap before we head off?
Yeah, I mean, we've got definitely a lot of big rollout of new features. Like I said, we've got a lot of big things going. It's kind of kept under wraps at the minute. But what I'll do, David, is obviously for the listeners of Demio, you guys have got a great crowd. We will set you guys up if anyone wants to join Zapable. Like I said, we're all about, you can try it before you buy it almost. Well, you've got to invest a little bit. How about $1? So we'll give you guys a special $1 trial link. You can come in there, start reselling some apps or build an app for your own business. So we'll hook you guys up with that. So that's not on the website or anything at the moment. So we'll do that. But yeah, I mean, and also if, what I'd even encourage people to do is if you go to zapable.com, and just to give a bit more value here, and here's something that will definitely help your business, is we have over 300 testimonials on the website, but we also have case studies. And in these case studies, we had one of our members of staff, Andrew Hampton. He did a fantastic job. And we emailed our, actually, I'll tell you the strategy here. We basically emailed our clients and said, look, we're going to be getting a lot of PR and mainstream coverage. Would anybody like their app reseller business featured in, potentially Forbes, Entrepreneur, all these, TechCrunch big publications? Because that's what we were going to focus on. And, if we feature your story, we'll also give you I think it was a few $100 or something. So people were like, okay, cool. So we then basically got him to, interview these people, and, he interviewed them on Skype or whatever. We turned the transcripts into nice PDFs, and this was great data for us as well. And it's great case studies. So if people say, well, I'm an app reseller, what's the best thing I can do, Andrew? I just say, go and read the case study. So if you go to zapable.com and look at the case studies, there's people selling apps, coffee shops. There's a Swedish mum selling apps to hairdressers. There's a guy in New York has an agency selling apps. So there's a lot of content. So again, that's something if you had that for Demio, case studies, 4 or 5, audio interviews or PDFs of how people have used Demio to go from, 30 grand a month to 50 grand, and a case studies and content marketing. And that's where Peter Parks, a good friend, business partner of mine, he is a very prolific content marketer. And content marketing is the best. Like I said, what's easier, if you're going to sell a personal trainer an app, or just show them the features, or show them the features that a competitor personal trainer is using, so they're like, holy shit, I gotta get in the game here. That's the easiest way to sell, and it's so obvious when you point it out. But rather than try and sell something, show the benefits of it, and that'll come through every time.
I love that. And it goes right back to what you were saying before about knowing the pain points, showing the benefits, and you're using a little bit of competition there with personal trainers, which I think is smart because they're super competitive anyways. But that's awesome. I definitely agree. I think we, as far as Demio, we definitely need to use more case studies, because case studies are great because you're not doing the selling yourself. Like David Abrams selling Demio, you can feel like, a little bit of bias or a little bit of selling material. But when you're using a case study, there's kind of a neutral bias there. This is someone just using the product. This is how they did it. There's details that you can learn from and apply to your business. And then there's the key results or the benefits that, you're really selling with. So that's great advice, guys. All of you should go check out Zapable. When I end this webinar, you guys all have a link to go over to Zapable and check it out. Andrew, I just really want to thank you so much for taking some time to meet with us today, to be on Demio Discover. I know we're going to be sending out a replay to everyone, and we'll make sure to include that trial link as well that you talked about.
Yeah, pleasure, man. And hey, everyone on Demio Discover, it was a pleasure to be here. I hope you got some good content, some value out of it, and something to take home to the bank. Go apply it, use it. Get in contact with Zapable and say that you've been on the call. We always love to hear from you. So, and always believe in yourself. Don't take any shit from no one. You're capable of doing anything. I don't want to hear any excuses. It's all a lie. You can do anything you want, so just do it.
I love it. I love that mindset. Well, Andrew, thank you so much, man. Thank you guys all for coming. Really appreciate you guys taking every week to join us. Thanks, Derek. Lots of stuff to go through. Karen, really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us, Devin, and everyone else. Have a great day, guys.
Okay. Just in, guys. Bye.
Bye.